Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Ferguson and welcome to Gratitude Journey with Michelle. This episode is all about celebrating life through the lens of the gratitude. My mission is simple to spread gratitude all over the world and to show how gratitude helps navigate life's challenges with strength, love, grace, and hope. Here we'll explore stories from my own experience and from my guest, Laura, who found gratitude in unexpected places and unexpected circumstances and collaboration. Because when we choose gratitude, we don't ignore the pain, we find meaning, healing, light within. So today, I'm thrilled, as if I've known her for a long time because we have a lot of talks already together. Laura Coleman from the Embodied Revolution. Hi, Laura.
Hey, Michelle. I'm so glad to be here today.
I'm so grateful and humbled that you said yes to
Of
this.
course.
I'm so excited. So let's dive in and begin this gratitude conversation. So tell me more a little bit about yourself, Laura, for the viewers that hasn't known about Embodied Revolution. What is it about? And then we'll do a little bit about gratitude later.
Yes, I am the founder of Embodied Revolution. It started as a podcast, but then as I started growing in my self development, it quickly grew to more. And then it was picked up by Women's Thrive. So now it's a show. I'm also a mentor. So I help women step into a higher embodiment to live a more fulfilled life. And I'm also a speaker. So I'm working with a lot of women, doing a lot of different things. And I even have my own live speaking event coming up. So, kind of anything that's going on, I'm basically doing it. But the main mission is to elevate authentic embodiment for women to step into their highest identity.
And that's what I really think you're the best. This is the first time that I have guest with the gratitude
Mhm.
journey with Michelle. And today's episode actually is titled Embodied Revolution Living Authentically with Gratitude. And that's when I was talking to Laura a couple of times already this week. I really see the authenticity and the gratitude within her and how she's really willing. Like she only met me once and not even virtually, only not even in real life, and how she really helped me. So Laura, if you think about gratitude, what does it mean to you and how does it shape you?
So, in my own journey, if a little bit backstory about me is that I came from a place of extreme lack. So, I grew up in a very chaotic childhood, which, I don't know how much time you have.
We
Um,
could talk, we could have an hour. It's okay.
so, I grew up with a very chaotic childhood. Like, part of my story is my mom went to prison, my dad was depressed. There was a lot of drug usage, things like that. And there was a time before that I didn't want to talk about that. And I just basically, as a child, hated everything, like, hated my environment. And gratitude kind of came in whenever I started growing in this mindset journey and listening to more podcasts, which is where I started, was just listening to other people, listening to real people telling their stories. And I started growing in my gratitude by journaling, and I started noticing everything that I did have to be grateful for if we're talking about just gratitude. And it was instilled in me through these podcasts and through these readings that the more I was grateful for what I had, even in that situation of drug usage and, all these things, moving around, going from house to house, the more I was able to create a life that I wanted, that I desired. And it really does start with gratitude, because the more grateful you are for what you have, the more you're going to attract better and better into your world. And that is the belief that I live everything through with gratitude.
That's really well, very well said, Laura. And looking back as you, I never ever know. Thank you for sharing your
Yeah.
authenticity and vulnerability because the what you're going through is shaped to who you are right now, and it really turned out to be a motivating factor for you, I guess, to help women as well. And I've seen that I received that help, your coaching and how to build this. So I'm so grateful for that one. The last time we talked, when I was the roles were reversed, and you mentioned you mentioned to me about one of your daily things that you said thank you throughout the day. Like, can you share me more about it or any instances that whether it's personal wise or work related that you paused and you said thank you, and how does it help the mindset?
Yeah, so part of my lifestyle with Embodied Revolution is really just being in that mindset on a normal day basis. So, not just when things are hard, not just when things are good. And one revelation that I had was that I used to always kind of like feel fearful of gatekeeping my methods and my strategies because I always thought, as a mentor, like, oh, if I say all this online on social media, they're not going to want to come to me for mentorship. Like, but if I kind of gatekeep this to myself, like they'll feel more impactful when they come work with me. But I kind of started seeing the error of those ways. And with gratitude, because like whenever you're doing it in everyday life, is what I'm trying to say, is you don't feel the need to gatekeep because it's just a way of being throughout the day. And the way that I kind of use gratitude in that way of everyday life is one thing I do is, and I've taught my kids this, so I have a few kids actually, that whenever I get frustrated and they get frustrated because, mom life, like the story I told you was I passed up a turn to go to their camp. I was already late, and what if they had a field trip and all of these things? And instead of like getting into the spiral of the downhill spiral that gets bigger and bigger, I'll just use the word thankfully. So one of my methods is like one word can make a big impact. So even when you think about affirmations, that's really what affirmations are like sentence starters and one word things. So I'll use the one word thankfully and I'll just start thinking of like anything I could say. So in that scenario, I was just thankfully it was raining. So I was like, thankfully we have a car, so we're not out in the rain. Thankfully we have gas. I don't have to stop for gas. Thankfully y'all don't have a field trip today. So there's nothing to really be late for. Thankfully this, thankfully that. So I just started saying thankfully everything. Thankfully we're healthy enough to even do this. Thankfully we even have money to get like to put y'all in a camp. And it just starts like this whole thing that is really rewiring your brain to see that as reality. Because one issue that people have with gratitude is they'll sit there and say, oh, I'm grateful for the life I have. I'm grateful for everything. But your brain is not going to accept that as reality if you're not actually making it into reality. And saying these things that are true makes your brain believe you in a weird way. It's almost like you're speaking to your brain. So that's one of the strategies that I use in everyday life to keep gratitude on the forefront and make it to where it's like, really being late or passing that turn was not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. And that starts with gratitude and it builds from gratitude. So I kind of do that a lot.
Now,
Uh,
that's your kids. So you said that you're sharing that with your kids. So that's your kids embrace that practice also. Did you hear them saying like thankfully or right now at the household, at your household?
Sometimes,
Okay.
but they are teenagers, so I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yes, they're so taking everything. Like they don't always take everything. So, they're normal teenagers that sometimes they're like, okay, mom, but I mean, at least it is instilled in them. And
Mm-hmm.
I find as a mom, and I'm just, one of my key beliefs is in my brand is to be authentic. And I feel like with my kids, it's almost like I don't see it every day, but then I do see it when it matters. And that's just the reality of being a mom is like your teenage girls are not probably just gonna be saying this all the time.
That's
Like, that's just being honest.
that's being authentic of you too. And
Yeah.
I remember what you're saying about like how our mind is really just wired. So in one of the readings that I had and I practice it, is that our mind can only handle one emotion at a time, and that's why how the positive mindset and it attracts. So you and I are both experiencing that in our daily lives. When you look back right now, just like who or what in your life right now that you are grateful for or you are most grateful for?
Well, for what I'm most grateful
Yeah.
for is my husband.
Tell me.
Because he supports me in everything. He's like the world's best husband. So he's like one person who truly showed me the meaning of complete support and really just respects who I am. And like one of the first people in my life who was like accepted me for my heart, for my mission, for my purpose, things like that. So if we were talking about like one thing that I'm most grateful for, it would be my husband because he chose me from his own choice. You know, everyone else I feel like in my life was like my sister, my kids, like they didn't really have a choice. So I am grateful for that and like the support that he shows me. On a deeper level, as far as like my brand and what my brand stands
Yeah.
for, I am actually very grateful for the people who came before me, who faced discomfort before me and put it out on podcasts and put it out in books. You know, people like you who bear their vulnerability for the world to see. I'm grateful for those people because me as a child, like I said, that was not around my environment. So if it wasn't for me listening to those people, I wouldn't have had the tools and the resources that got me to this place that I am now. And I'm also just in a weird way, which might sound conceited to some people, I'm grateful for like myself and my own mind because sometimes when I do look at, you know, the people that I'm talking about in my family, and, you know, my family might listen to this one day and be like, um, upset about it, but it really is like I'm grateful that for some reason that I had a mind that was able to overcome these things and reject the beliefs that were put upon me. And that's one thing that I always think about, like to this day. I always think, and maybe some people can relate to this, it's like, why did I have the brain that was able to overcome this? Like, I'll never know, but I'm grateful just to like be in that health, be in sane mindset, like not be bogged down by like extreme addictions or anything like that. Like I'm just grateful that I was able to get to this place. So in a weird way, it's like I'm grateful for whatever was the higher part of myself that got me here. But I'm grateful for like everything. Like literally every night, another strategy that I use. So I used to have a very hard time sleeping because I do have anxiety, and I started thanking every part of my body. And I'm like, I've talked about this before, but you should try this. Like every night when I go to bed, I'll literally start from my toes and I'll thank every part of my body. Like, thank you, feet, for supporting me all throughout the day. Thank you, ankles. Like, and I'll really go deep into thinking about it because your ankles are so small, but like they carry your whole weight of everything throughout the day. I'll like, thank you, legs, thank you, knees. I'll literally thank everything all the way up to like my head. And I'll send love to like every cell of my body because I really just don't take my own body for granted. And that is a strategy that I use to like go to bed in peace, and it helps me fall asleep. And I couldn't sleep before that time. So when I say I use gratitude throughout the day, it's really like just things that like most people would take for granted. It's really like if you stop and think about it, your
Mhm.
body is amazing that it does everything that it does for you.
That is really an amazing story, Laura, because I remember before I was reading this Louis Hay book
Mm.
that you have to thank every part of your body. And I mean, I was working at the bank and with all the challenges at the banking, so that I actually did that and then I stopped. So this is really a good reminder. See, another reason why our path crossed to remind me, like, and you're really right. Like your feet, your toes, your fingers, you make you right. Thank you for. So I'm grateful that you're sharing that with us too. So now you could sleep well. When did you start doing that, implementing that?
I probably started that like probably a year ago now.
Uh-huh.
And it was probably from, like I said, I'm obsessed with podcasts, if you haven't found out by now. It was probably from listening to a podcast that, you know, there's a lot of gratitude challenges to make it more intentional.
Yeah.
I I think that's where it started from, even though I didn't hear to do that exact thing, but still that inspired me to start doing it. And then I realized like it was helping me sleep. And then I was just like, okay, I don't know. I can't really explain it because like my brain just works
Yeah.
in such a unique way, I guess. And that is why I do what I do. So I just started doing it from that, I guess.
Wow. Well, if anyone that has problems sleeping, why won't you try that and let us know if it works? The same as Laura did in the comment later on when in either in YouTube or in our social media. So, Laura, I wanted you to touch base more about in the intro earlier you talk about the embodied revolution and what it is, and I've been to the website. I know you're offering courses and some mastermind class. So, if you're gonna tell me more about it, and if they wanna follow you or get to know more about it also, where to go and how does it look like, the courses and the coaching for you.
Yeah, okay. So Embodied Revolution is really about facing your fears and overcoming your mental fears in order to build your highest identity. So, like I said, it is to embody your authentic self, but at the same time, it's like encouraging bigger, bolder moves. And most of the time, the reason that women are not making the moves that they are meant for is because of some underlining fear, right? Like fear of judgment, fear of disappointment, something like that. And my role in the brand is to kind of uncover that fear and guide women to facing it. And it's more about not avoiding fear and not denying fear and being like, oh no, I never have fear. Like, because that wouldn't be authentic to say, I never have had fear. Like, I've had fear like literally 2 weeks ago about something. But it's more about understanding fear so that we can accept it so that we can make bigger moves that will make a greater impact. And the way I do that is my fear framework. So it's broken up by fear. So we're facing fear with fear itself. And F is to face and replace. So face your fears and replace them with something that serves your higher purpose. E is embodiment, of course. And when I talk about embodiment, I mean embody your true values and your sole purpose, not what everyone else is showing is embodiment. It's like cater to you because your embodiment is going to be different than my embodiment versus the other person. If we were all embodying the same thing, that would be besides the point, right? A is authentic authority. So, kind of like helping women see themselves as the powerful person that they are. And then R is receiving, which is in your receiving mode. Now that you've worked through these things, now it is your time to gather abundance and really receive what is right for you. So that's kind of the framework. And the reason that there's a few different things is the courses are more for beginner, even though like an intermediate person who's already in this field would get some use out of it, but it's more for the person that's like just getting into this and they value resources. So the courses are actually like a course where it's a video and it has resources, it has maps, it has bubble maps, it has visuals, it has all of these things. So it's someone who just wants to go at their own pace, pay the one price and get those resources, which the resources are very good resources. And the master course is more like hands on. Like I said, I can sit here and say the same thing on social media and it's still not going to like implement into some people's lives like a master course because whenever I was talking to you earlier today, I was able to listen to what you, Michelle, was saying, and then I was able to say like, oh wait, backtrack, like you said this, I noticed this about you. So the master course is more for someone who's looking for proximity and it's ready to make big moves. Like they don't need a course, they want someone to see their blind spots and work with them hands on. And then the last thing is more geared just towards speakers. So it's building a speaking brand, working in a speaking live event, and kind of using the fear framework for speaking specifically.
You know what I really like was I was going through your website and the courses and your Instagram post, and when I tried to think what would be the appropriate title for this episode, the embodied revolution, living authentically with gratitude and the fear. And thank you for bringing this FAAR. What does it mean?
Yeah.
Because we talked about it earlier too in your podcast, that gratitude doesn't erase the pain, it doesn't erase the fear, but it helps you transform meaning in life and gives you purpose. And that's what you are really doing right now, basing on what you shared about your childhood experience and growing up in that environment. For sure there's this fear, this, and we're always in a way a product of our childhood environment, and it's up to us how we grow out of it and how we make it as our purpose. And I've seen you, and for sure you're gonna be helping a lot of women out there, either the same childhood as yours, or into like me, into like going into to the higher purpose. And you're already helping me in a couple of our conversation together, so I can't wait to do more collaboration with you. um so Laura, if there's someone that's just wanna start or wanna contact you aside from the social media, do you do like free consultation for a start? How does it that they will become a client? And I will post later on all your media links as well, so they would have that. Yeah, my pleasure. So
So right now I had an embodiment call where we talk about uncovering your embodiment blocks, but I'm moving towards just consulting calls because I've found so much joy from like the show, talking to other women. And like I talked to you a couple of times for free just because like women empowering other women. And just I learned to it's not just like I'm at the place where it's like I know that it's not just about me helping others. It's like I learn from you as well. And like the more support given is just networking and just making a collective. So I am about to post like just consult calls.
okay.
So that will be on the site soon, but like the site is kind of going through a whole thing because of working with Women's Thrive. But yeah, like I'm just
So there
I,
will be more to come, and we will
yeah,
see
I'm
that
just
at
like a
Laura's side. So,
regular.
yeah, and we will be posting that also in the Simwa Michelle Ferguson and the Gratitude Journey with Michelle. So you know where to contact Laura, and if you followed me on Instagram, you could find her there too, because we follow each other. So that will be a good way to connect with her as well. So, Laura, as we wrap up, we're getting closer to the end of our episode. If you could leave one or three messages, I should say three or four. Um, we start with the inner you, like love you to yourself, and then to any women that grow up in the same situation as you,
Mhm.
and how you overcome it. And then the third is if your children are gonna your daughters are gonna watch it 10, 15 years from now, what would you want them to see? And then fourth is that to the rest of the women around the world that will be viewing this, what would be your final thought of gratitude and embodied revolution authenticity?
Yeah, so basically a message to any kind of woman.
Yeah.
I know you said women that came from the same background as me, but I find that it's really for any woman because you don't have to come from a complete, environment of scarcity. But for the women that are coming from a background such as mine, where it's so chaotic and you are coming from scarcity, I would want to say that that story does not define who you are, right? Like you decide who you are and nobody else can decide for you. And anything else that was said to you that was almost like limiting you in a way, that person was projecting onto you. And all it takes for you to get out of that is for you to decide and for you to go within. So don't worry about the external. Go within, find out what is important to you and what is going to be fulfilling to you, and act on that. Act out of passion and authenticity, and that will lead to where you're supposed to be. Because, and I would elaborate on that even more because I know some people would say, well, what if this, what if that? And it's not all that, I didn't make it to that place, but in reality, like you choose what came out of every situation. And that kind of ties in with gratitude as well. So let's say, for example, I had an event and I wanted 100 people there and only 20 people showed up, right? Like there's one side that I could say, oh, it wasn't a success because only 20 people showed up, only 5 people showed up, or whatever, if it was like a virtual thing. Or there could be the side that says it was a success because I decide how to find it to be successful, right? And it's up to us to choose. So my main message there would be like, you decide who you are and nobody else.
Thank you so much, Lord. Those are really powerful words. So, for sure, you have a lot of wisdom to share. So, follow her as well. To all our viewers, thank you so much for watching Gratitude Journey with Michelle. I hope today's story reminded you that gratitude can transform the way we see things and experience life. As what Laura was saying, that whatever happens, it doesn't define you, and gratitude helps you with that. If this episode inspires you, please comment, share. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next conversation. Until next time, remember gratitude doesn't make life perfect, but it makes every moment meaningful. I'm Michelle Ferguson. See you in the next gratitude journey, and we're gonna wrap it up with what practicing gratitude benefits. And we'll see you next time.